Hello, Chris here from the CompulsiveCanadianGamer.com. Here today to do an unboxing video for the PlayStation VR. After long last, after 3 years of waiting, Sony has finally put this out. Today's October 13th, and got this particular one off of Best Buy. I've pre-ordered. This is just the core bundle. There's actually two bundles that are available. Get the core bundle, and then there's sort of the full bundle that includes two Move controllers, a camera, a game, and the headset. I actually picked up both. You can't see it on camera, but off to the side over there, I have the other bundle. In the meantime, I pre-ordered both. I wasn't really confident with Best Buy because they don't, they're not big on release day, getting stuff to you by release day. So I figured I'd cover my bases, and I managed to get the other bundle as well. So I just decided whichever one sort of comes, I'll keep it. So this guy's about $150 less than the other one, and I already have Move controllers and the camera and the game. So ultimately, that guy's going to be going back. I thought about selling it, but really Sony has done an amazing job with their supply chain. Everybody was kind of expecting this thing to drop and there to be nothing but the pre-orders that are fulfilled, and that's it. Right now you can go down to Best Buy, you can go down to Walmart, wherever, EB Games, and they have some of these sitting on the shelf. You can also go to Amazon.ca. They've got stock. Most of the sites have stock online as well, and you usually get it next day. So that's kind of a public service announcement. Don't go out. Don't go to eBay. Don't go on Craigslist. Don't go on CCG. Don't pay like $1,500 for one of these. You can actually go to the store and buy one. So I've seen it up on CCG here in my city. There's people that are trying to sell this thing for $2,100, telling people that it's not going to be available to the public until 2017. That is absolute BS. You can get them. They are available right now, and Sony is going to continue to fulfill orders. So they're going to be coming in every week. So don't worry, don't overpay for it, please, because you're just going to get ripped off. Okay, that being said, rant over. We'll get to the unboxing here. Of course, one of the requirements for this guy is you do need a PlayStation 4. So do sort of take note that you gotta own a PlayStation 4 if you want to fire this up. There is another PlayStation coming in about 3 weeks' time now as well, a PlayStation Pro, that will offer sort of not more functionality, but just better looking graphics, better frame rates and stuff for PlayStation VR. You absolutely do not require a PlayStation Pro. These guys work perfectly fine off of PlayStation 4. Don't sort of buy into that BS hype either. There's a lot going on online saying, oh my god, you need a PlayStation 4 Pro if you want to play VR in any decent capacity. That is a lie. So again, don't feel that you have to run out and spend $500 on a console right after spending $500 on this. It's not necessary. If you want a little bit better graphics, PlayStation 4 Pro actually offers just a couple of advancements. It's going to be doing 4K upscaling. It's going to have HDR compatibility. And as you guys saw my projector and Xbox One unboxings, I've got sort of a setup that does HDR now, and I can tell you it's unbelievable. It looks unlike anything you guys have seen before. So it takes next gen graphics and just sends them into the stratosphere. Like I'm playing Forza right now, Forza Horizon 3, and when you're like driving into sunsets and stuff like that, you almost need to put on sunglasses. Like it looks that realistic, as in having a sun in your face and you're having a hard time seeing the road. So just that is as good as HDR is. Speaking of HDR though, one thing that Sony did kind of drop the ball on with this guy is, strangely, there is no HDR compatibility in the PlayStation VR itself. So I don't know if that's a processing power thing, because I know it does require more processing power, and there are strict guidelines for PlayStation VR games. They have to run at a constant 60 frames per second, and that gets sort of upscaled to 90 frames or 120 frames. Your games can't dip below that because you will kind of get pretty motion sick in virtual reality. As it is, people will be you are going to get motion sick. The vast majority of people will, until you get your VR legs, which can take a few weeks, expect to see a little bit of nausea in some things. That is only made colossally worse if you're having frame drops, if you're having tracking issues, if you're having other problems. That's a real issue. I've seen it firsthand on Vive and on Rift. The guidelines on PC, it's the Wild West. Nobody gives a rat's ass about any kind of structure. So your game can run horribly and people are still buying it. So just sort of know that that's kind of one of the big upsells to PlayStation VR, is this kind of mindset that things are going to be locked in. So that I think is part of the reason that they decided not to go with HDR in the headset. You don't need much, you don't need anything too fancy. It does have to be HDMI 2.0A connection. I believe this guy's just 2.0, so that might have something to do with it. It is a little bit more expensive connector. Beyond that, you may need a different screen. So it's just, there's a couple of things. They probably could have done it, probably would have cost a lot more money, probably would have only been compatible with a PlayStation Pro, and Sony didn't really want to go that route. So, alright, so let's get this guy cracked open. We got a nice little handle here on the inside. You can scooch him out of the box. Alright. So, this guy just pops open, and we have got your giant setup manual, step-by-step instructions and everything. There's an address here on the back where you can actually go to Sony's site, and there is a walkthrough video on how to set this thing up. It's not terribly complex. You've got just a couple little wires, a couple connections. There is, I'll show you here in a second, something that they call the breakout box. That'll be in here. The breakout box is actually sort of the brain that goes and does all that upscaling that I told you about, or it's called reprojection is actually the word for it. What it does is it takes I don't want to say a lower quality signal, but a slower signal, and multiplies the frame rate and stuff like that. So it's not going to give you better quality graphics. That's not what it's for. It's not going to give you better quality sound. It is strictly to just kind of redo or bump up the frame rate. So in this box, you got a set of headsets. Kind of cheap, from what I've read online. Really not that great. You should probably have a better set. You probably already own a better set. Power for the breakout box, USB cable for the breakout box, and that's this little guy here. Pretty tiny. It's kind of cute because it actually looks like a teeny tiny little PlayStation 4. Kind of looks like you put it in the dryer and shrank it. Connectors on the back. You've got HDMI in, HDMI out, USB, and power. And then on the front, here's where your virtual reality headset plugs in. You just kind of slide it back, plug things in, and then slide this forward and kind of lock them in place. Something to note for people who are planning to pick up the PlayStation Pro, unfortunately, when you run your HDMI through here, what you're going to do is you're going to plug your PlayStation into here. The cable that comes out of here is going to go back to your TV. So, unfortunately, this guy can't pass an HDR signal, and I think that was a bit of an oversight on Sony's part. I completely understand why they didn't include it in the headset. It would have been a lot more complex, would have been more costly, but to not put HDMI 2.0A connections in here is a major oversight, because what's going to happen is, if you've got this hooked up to an HDR TV, every time that you want to play that content on your PS4 Pro, you're going to have to unhook this. So you're going to have to take this guy, unplug him, take the cable out of this, plug it into your television, or you're going to have to run a separate cable that maybe you're going to want to plug into your PlayStation. Depends on how far away this thing is from your PS4. Anytime you want to play an HDR game. Or not anytime you want to play a HDR game. If you want to use the HDR features, that's going to be the crux of this thing. So, bit of a pain in the ass. Again, it just seems like an oversight. I don't know why they didn't do that. Sony is kind of, they've done really great this generation, and it shows in their sales. You know, they're well over 40 million now. They're twice what the competition is, and it just seems like in the last 6 months they've really kind of dropped the ball. They've missed the mark on a few things. I talked about in one of our other videos, the PlayStation 4 Pro doesn't have a 4K Blu-ray player in it for whatever reason. I can't fathom why they did that. They sort of dropped the ball there with the PlayStation VR. They've kind of screwed things up with, oops, sorry, that's my phone going off here. They sort of screwed things up with the HDR on this. There's just been a couple other little missteps, charging an extra $20 for PlayStation Network and not really communicating to people why they're doing that. They just kind of said, hey, putting the price up. Sorry, suckers. From a market analyst point of view, from my point of view, I know exactly why they've done it, but the vast majority of people don't. It's been 5 years since PlayStation, 6 years I think, since maybe even 7 years since PlayStation Network has been around, since PSN's been around. Price hasn't changed. It's been $49.99 since like the day it was introduced. I'm not surprised in that amount of time. Now they're looking at like, hey, we need an extra $20 because infrastructure's changed. Cost of PC hardware has changed. Server space, storage space, everything that comes along with it. You know, the more people that you have that own a PlayStation, it's a bigger network, it's more infrastructure, that means more staff on Sony's side. So there's really, there's a lot of reasons why, but people just kind of see that bottom line and go, I'm spending $20 extra, I'm not getting jack. You know, like I'm not getting a better service, I'm not getting anything. No, you're actually paying that sort of incremental cost of living where the market's gone up. But just a bitter pill to swallow in light of all these other little faux pas that are going on right now. So, again, you know, like I still think what Sony's doing is better than the competition. I'm not trying to sound fanboyish here, but I play my PlayStation, you know, 10 times as much as I play my Xbox or on my PC gaming rig. Or, God, I play 50 times more than I play my Wii. So they're doing a good thing, but they're just kind of misstepping right now. And, you know, it's a sad state of affairs. I also firmly believe, some people will disagree with me here, but I firmly believe that some of that $20 is going to be recouped because you're going to start getting free PlayStation VR games every month. So that's kind of going to offset that cost, I'm imagining. You know, you're going to get a $10 game for free, you're paying $20 more, the extra $10 covers the infrastructure and whatnot. So mark my words, I'm expecting probably by January, if not at the absolute latest by E3 next year, it'll be announced that they're giving away free PlayStation VR games every month. That'll help generate business for PSVR, that's going to get sales going. It's a win-win situation. Unfortunately, if Sony had have said that in August, if they had come out and said, hey guys, you know, we're going to charge you $20 more, stay tuned, we're going to start giving you more free games, we're going to give you better quality games, or you know what, you know, we hired an extra 50 people this year to make the network better, that would have gone over well with fans. But unfortunately, just Sony hasn't been super great on their communication over the years. They do kind of drop the ball there a little bit. All right, I'm sorry, I'm getting way off track here. This is your cable to connect to your box and to your PlayStation headset. I'm not going to open it here now. From what I understand, I believe it's 12 feet long, might be 15. That's kind of reasonable. The maximum length that you can take a USB 2.0 cable without being powered, 15 feet. So that's kind of why you're going to see a lot of these connections. It's the same way for Vive, it's the same way for Oculus. They've got a 14, 15 foot cable on them. HDMI connector, so this will go between your PlayStation and this box. This guy comes with the PlayStation VR demo disc. If I'm not mistaken, I can't really read it on the back, I don't think they actually tell you how many things are in here. I believe there's about 20 games on here. There's about 20 demos on here, not games, for sort of all the current titles that are out, as well as some that are coming in the future. One of the things that's on here that I know a lot of people are excited about, if you guys have heard of The Kitchen, Resident Evil 7, The Kitchen demo, gonna scare the pants off you. So definitely check it out. If for whatever reason, I know throughout the world, this bundle's a little bit different. In the UK, you actually don't get the demo disc, but up on the PlayStation Store, PlayStation Network Store, you can download that. It's 35 gigs, contains everything that's on the disc. So if you want to like preload it or whatever, or if you're in the UK, that's how you get access to it without having the physical media. So really, there's not a whole lot of point in having this because they are giving it away on the store for free. Still a smart move if you wanted to preload it or whatever, because it's still going to want to do the installation, and it's got a ton of things on here to install. So, all right, so let's pop the headset out of here. That's about all that we got left. And you guys may or may not be aware, but this is actually my first time laying hands on this thing. I'm a huge VR fan. If you've been following the blog, you know that. Got tons of reviews up from back in March and April when the Vive and the Rift dropped. We got unboxings, we got setup videos and stuff like that. I'm a huge VR guy, so I've intentionally stayed away from EB Games, and they've kind of had this PlayStation VR roadshow. If you're on, speaking of which, if you're on the fence about VR, if you don't know what at all to expect in VR, highly recommend you go online, go to PlayStation's site, PlayStation.com. There's links on where they're doing the demos locally. Pretty much everywhere across Canada, every major city in Canada has them just about every weekend or every second weekend. Some of the bigger cities, they've got like 15 different locations or whatever. Here in Winnipeg, we've had 2 or 3. Saskatoon had 1. I got a buddy in Saskatoon that went down to check it out just to see what it was all about. Yeah, so if you're on the fence, you're definitely going to want to try one of these before you decide, willy-nilly, hey, I'm going to drop $500 on it. VR, as much as I love it, as much as I'm a huge fan, I can definitely tell you it's not for everyone. It is an entirely different way of gaming. It is a whole totally new mindset on how to look around your world. It takes a lot to get used to before you kind of get those VR legs that I talked about. Till you do, you're gonna have some nausea, you're gonna have some sickness in your stomach, especially when you're like playing games like Eve Valkyrie and stuff, where you're like whipping around in the cockpit of your ship, doing barrel rolls and stuff. You're gonna get dizzy. There are very few people out there, the 1% that don't, and they've probably had some experience with a lot of roller coaster rides, a lot of thrill rides, stuff like that. Spinning, jumping, stuff like that. The average person's gonna put this on. It may be put off a little bit because it is a bit of a jarring experience. So yeah, this is where I was going with that. This is actually the first time I've even picked this thing up. I've just avoided all of these different things because I just wanted to be surprised day one, to be completely honest. I don't want to go like reefing on this thing. I know the face piece kind of like flips out. Oh, there we go. So you've kind of got there's a little button here on the bottom. And you press this and it kind of like moves it in or out closer to your eyes. You kind of put it on the head piece here. There's a button on the back as well, and this extends out. Watch enough videos online to know what the hell to do here. So you just kind of put this, here, I'll show you guys. You just kind of push the button in the back, open it up big enough to put over your face. It's got a nice big pad up here that kind of sits on your forehead. And the back is padded as well. So from what I can tell you, just putting this thing on now for the first time, it is a lot more comfortable than the Vive, and like 100 times more comfortable than the Oculus. Oculus headset, even though it's a bit more of a commercial product, I gotta say, for comfort level, it gets like a 2. I can't wear my glasses at all when using Oculus. Have to wear my contacts, and I hate wearing contacts because my eyes dry out. So this guy, I just popped it on now, fit completely fine. Fit completely fine over my glasses. No pressure on the face, no pressure on the nose, nothing. So really, so far comfort level is about an 8 or a 9, and that's in like the 5 seconds that I've been using this thing. Yeah, so what else can I say about it? Definitely check it out. This is, in my opinion, virtual reality is kind of the way of the future, the wave of the future for games. Definitely for things that are cockpit games and stuff like that. You're going to see VR. You've got 2 camps online right now. You've got those that are like huge proponents of VR, and as with everything in life, you have the huge VR haters that are out there. The majority of the haters have never tried a virtual reality headset on. When VR is done right, when you're in a game, and I can tell you this from experience with Vive, when you're in a game where you're totally engrossed, you can 100% block out the world and your brain thinks you're there. You feel like you're in that environment, you feel like you're in that forest, you feel like you're on that spaceport, in that cockpit of that ship, and it does an amazing job of tricking your brain. How it works, I don't know. Kind of makes me, I'm a little bit disappointed in the brain because it's very freaking easy to trick you into thinking you're somewhere else. All it takes is a really pretty picture and that's it. We're like this far away from being in the Matrix. But on the flip side of the coin, if VR is not for you, if it makes you sick, like, and there are some people that are like highly susceptible to it, if it really makes you sick, you're gonna have a bad time, and you're no longer gonna be a cheerleader of VR. That's something else I wanted to talk about, just from a sale and a store perspective. Best Buy is doing something really shitty, and I'm very close to not taking delivery on this and picking it up from Amazon instead, even if I had to wait an extra day or two. Once you open this from Best Buy, they will not take this back. There is no refund policy on the PlayStation VR, and I think that is absolutely disgusting business practice. 2 days before they ship this, they send out an email to everybody going, oh, by the way, once you get it and open it, tough shit, you can't bring it back. If it's broken, they'll replace it. That's about it. Beyond that, once you try it, you buy it, and that is horrible, especially for a product that is so fickle and so user specific. You can take this thing home, slap it on, and be puking in a bucket, and tough, you're out $500. Sorry, pal. That is not okay. So I'm going to be writing a letter to head office at Best Buy, and I'm going to be addressing this, and I implore any of my watchers to do the same thing, because that is really, really horrible business practice. They don't do it with any other product they have. If you've opened, I can't say that, if you've opened video games and movies and stuff, yeah, you're kind of on the hook. This is a piece of consumer electronics. This is no different than getting a TV home and saying, hey, I don't like the picture. This is no different than getting a computer home and going, it's not fast enough, I want to take it back. If this thing is a problem, Best Buy has a responsibility to take it back, and that is just not okay. So yeah, that's sort of my rant on that. You guys, I highly advise, anybody who watches this, all 4 of my viewers, send an angry letter to Best Buy head office. Even if you don't own one of these, send them an outrage letter, because that's just really horrible business practice. Especially when you have Amazon on as a contrast that will take like anything back if you use it, as long as it's not a movie that's open or a game that's open. And even then, I see those up on the Amazon warehouse deals. So under certain circumstances, yes, they will take that back. You buy a game, it doesn't play well on your system, it makes you sick, whatever, talk to customer service, you can very likely get your money back. It's just not one of those things that's published because they don't want everybody to just buy games, play them, and send them back. So anyways, definitely want to, you definitely, if you're buying from Best Buy, go in with that knowledge, because you may end up getting screwed. And unfortunately, because there's enough of a supply out there, if you go to Kijiji, if you go to eBay and you want to get rid of it, you're probably not going to be getting your money back. You're going to have to sell it at a loss, and that's just gross. So anyways, that's all I got to say about Best Buy. I will give you guys some advice on VR first use, because this is, from what I'm seeing on Reddit and from what I'm seeing on forums and stuff, this is actually a lot of people's first foray into virtual reality, and I cannot stress this one enough. If this makes you sick, if you're sitting down and you're starting to get a headache and you're starting to get nauseous, number 1, close your eyes. Immediately, just close your eyes, hit pause. You don't even have to pause, fuck it, die, whatever. Just hit the pause button, close your eyes, and just breathe for a minute. Take the headset off, but whatever you do, do not power through it. Do not try to power through it. You will make yourself seriously sick. And I'm not joking, I'm not screwing around here. You will be like down and out. I've read, I know somebody who's had VR sickness. I've read a lot of accounts on Reddit where people are having issues, and if you try to power through that, you know, you say, screw it, I'm going to play like another half hour, I'm going to feel better. I guarantee you are not, and you're probably going to be lying in your bed for the next 4 or 5 hours going, oh my God, I feel horrific. So just, you will get your VR legs. It takes time. Play with it. If you start to feel woozy, take it off, take a break, go for a walk around the house, whatever. Take yourself out of VR. You'll also find you're probably going to get, at least for the first while, until your brain adjusts, you can get a little bit of a VR hangover. That's different than this barfy feeling that you might get from the nausea. Because this tricks your mind, and because you feel like you're somewhere else, and your brain is telling you, hey, I'm in a tank, hey, I'm in a spacecraft or whatever. When you pop yourself out of this, you may have some, and I know this sounds very sci-fi and it sounds like movie bullshit, but you may find that you're going to have a bit of a problem with reality, where your brain's going, hey, I was in a cockpit a second ago, what the hell, where am I now, what's going on? That feeling, it does go away, I can promise you it goes away. It takes 2-3 weeks of steady use before your brain kind of goes, oh, okay, you're screwing with me, I get it. Until that happens, you're probably going to have a little bit of a VR hangover. Especially people who are like brand new green to this. So don't push it, folks. I know it's new tech, I know it's exciting, I know you want to jump in and just, you know, engross yourself in these worlds for, you know, 10 hours at a time, 5 hours at a time. Do yourself a favor, take it easy. Come in, you know, go play another game in 2D, doesn't matter. But just, you know, try not to overdo it, because what you're going to do is you're going to give yourself a negative experience, and you may actually want to get rid of this thing. And it's pretty awesome. VR is going to be where everything's going in the next 10 years. In the next 5 years, I'd say we'll probably see about 50% of our games coming out on hardware that's VR related. If not a tie-in component. You may have like Call of Duty regular, and you know, for $5 more you get the VR mode or whatever. But trust me, VR is not going anywhere, and you don't want to give yourself horrible experiences right now. Get used to it, play with it, have fun with it. Just don't overdo it. Last thing I'm going to say about this, and one thing I am super stoked for, I just read about this today. A lot of people have been asking, because this thing just has like a HDMI cable on it, what can I plug this into something? Can I like take this and jack it into my PC? Will it work with my PC? Yes, it will. Really exciting news. People have tried this today on Xbox One, on Wii, on PC. It gives you a big screen experience. It's no different. This thing is no different than a television. So you kind of got to see that in its own its own perspective here. It's nothing but a television that's strapped to your face. End of the day, that's all it is. It's a micro TV. So really, when you plug this into anything else, it just becomes a micro TV. So you can plug it into your PC, and it'll give you, you know, sort of this floating screen experience where you're kind of looking at a 100-inch screen or 150-inch screen. I don't know how big a screen it is. One of the biggest article on it, sadly, was in French, and I don't speak French. So, and I wasn't going to go Google Translate it because I was at work. But it's a giant floating screen in front of you. So you can like just take this, plug it into your Xbox, and make some bastard VR child out of your Xbox, and pretty much anything that has an HDMI output on it, you can hook this guy up to. So I'm going to be trying that out. I'll shut this down now. I've gone like way longer than I expected. I was kind of hoping this would be like a 10-minute video, but I've been talking for like a half hour here, it feels like. Anyway, so I'm going to cut this short. Go to our site in about probably 3-4 days. I've got the next week off vacation, so I'm going to be like playing the hell out of this thing. Expect a whole bunch of reviews from us. Picked up PlayStation VR Worlds, rigs. The rest of the games are downstairs. Have Battlezone downstairs on Until Dawn, Batman. Downloaded about 12 games off of PlayStation Network. You can expect reviews up from all those probably within the next 7 days, as well as a review on this guy. I'll let you know all the ins and outs. If you have any questions, post it on our YouTube channel. Check us out on Facebook at we've got the Compulsive Canadian Gamer page there, or you can hit us up on our blog at compulsivecanadiangamer.com. All right, thanks everybody for tuning in. If you have any questions, let us know. Thanks a lot, and see you in VR.